when you begin to change the way you look at things, things will begin to change.
But the reality is, there are reasons why we have a lot of the issues that we have. What I'm suggesting today, we need to just realize that and say, okay, now it just might be time to fix ourselves, a time to change. See, a problem that we have is how we view ourselves. Our limitations. I can't do this. I can't do that. And so we stay at a particular level, not accomplishing very much. What I'm suggesting today is that we have the ability to accomplish a lot more than we believe that we can. We just don't think we can. And so we're victims to our own limited thinking. Okay? My daughter, we just had a situation today. She's in like the special math class, and we were going over these particular problems, and she had like a certain amount she had to do, and she was like overwhelmed. I can't do it. It's going to take too long. And I'm like, yes, you can. No. And she was like, spent an hour and a half telling me that she couldn't do it. And I'm sitting there convincing her that she can, and you can, and you can, and you can. And finally, I said, okay, you got this right here. I think you get this package you can do in 15 minutes. She just took an hour and a half to do one of them. I said, look, I'm going to time you right here. We're going to do 15 minutes. And if you get it done, and I know that she can do it. She takes like these timed writings, these timed math problems in school, 100 of them in 5 minutes. And she missed like 4 the other day. She did like the best in her school. I'm like, honey, I said, when you got ready to take that test, you knew you were going to do good, didn't you? Yeah. I said, that's the key. You got to know that you can do it. If you sit down and you know that you can do it, you probably can do it. Right now, you don't think you can do this, and so you can't do it. But if you know that you can, you can. But this last packet, I said, look, I got this packet here. I think you can do it. And I went through this real, thing about convincing her how she blah, blah, blah. I said, look, I'm going to put $5 in your piggy bank if you can get this done in 15 minutes. You're going to just try, right? I said, just try. Okay. She said, how about 16 minutes? I said, no, 15 minutes. You got to get it in 15 minutes. And I'll put that. There's a lot of problems on that thing, And 15 minutes. So she's going and going and going and going and going and going. She gets it done in like 14 minutes. It amazed herself. She was amazed. She had another packet. She wanted to do it. She did it. Less than 15 minutes again. She believed, and she could do it. Now that's what the purpose of a father is to help, is to recognize in your child that in life there are going to be things that they don't think they can do. Some of you guys know, I had that beard for the past 4 months. I just cut it on the 1st of January. Back in September, I told my daughter, she said she wanted to run track. I said, okay, look. I said, I'm going to, this was in September, I'm going to cut my beard on 1 January. When I cut it, we're both going to be in shape. We went to that Y. We started off just walking a half a mile. And she was struggling. It'd be like after half a mile, I'd say, well, you want to just run one? No! She didn't want to. Fine. So then each day I was like, build it up. One more, one more, one more. And 18 laps is like a mile. So everything I was doing was with a mile after that. So then we were running and we jogging and blah, blah, blah. Before she knew it, she could run a mile. She was amazed. She never thought she could run a mile. But I had to sneak it up on her. I wasn't a runner either. So I was really sneaking it up on myself as well, because I had to get myself in shape. But I had to convince her that she could do something that she didn't believe that she could do. That's the limitation that we have as African Americans. And that is the limitation that our children have, and that's what our responsibility as parents is, not just to raise them and make them respect me and make them do what I tell them to do. Come on, because our minds aren't quite right sometimes because the issues that we've been exposed to. But we have to recognize our job as a parent is to get our children to realize that they can be more than they think they can be, that they can do more than they think they can do. They're just settling. They're jacked up. Our graduation rate is all jacked up. Our kids aren't going to school. Their futures are being sacrificed through ignorance, not just of their own, but of their parents not being able or not knowing how to, and not even having it in ourselves to impress upon our children that they can be, that they are more than that they believe that they are. That's the job. That's the job of a parent. But first, we have to get that ourselves. I learned that myself. Come on, I graduated high school in 1976. This last year, a few months ago, back in June 2012, I got my associate degree. Some of y'all might be thinking, dang, that ain't nothing. But to me it was. Consider this. I have a job. I have a good job. I've been here 19 years. I don't need a degree. But it was the idea. When Obama became president, last time, I put out a program on this, that there was something special going on. And that everybody, not just black folks, but everybody needed to do something that they never did before, accomplish something. Maybe they always wanted to accomplish, to pick up something new. So I went back to school, and I started studying Arabic. Now, I didn't follow through with the Arabic. You know, I could order a cup of coffee or something, but I did follow through with that school, and I accomplished it. I did something that I never thought I could do. Math was always the thing, the sore point in me that prevented me from even pursuing the degree. And I have to admit, it took me like a year of those classes, those pre-algebra classes, even to get to the point where I could take that final college algebra class, and it was tough. Don't get me wrong. But it was something that I never thought I could do after all these years. But I came to a place where I realized that I could do something more, but it was not going to be easy. I had to persevere. You have to do this thing. And I did it. And I don't want the credit. I do want the credit, for it, because I did do it. I'm kind of proud of that. But the reality is, what I'm telling you is, this is where we're all at. We all can be more than we are. We all can do more than we've done. And see, when I'm, as you know, I'm a minister, and I was a pastor for many years, and still, in a sense, I am. That when I see people, and a lot of folks think this is just, ridiculous, but I think everyone can find wellness. I don't care how sick you are. I mean, I know there are terminal illnesses, and I know that everybody dies. That's not what I'm talking about. But many of us are walking around maybe 100, 200 pounds overweight, or we got diabetes, or we got high blood pressure, or we're just out of shape, or whatever it is. I believe that we can fix these things. I believe that as long as you're on this planet, that's a day closer you can become to being healthy and the way that you're supposed to be. But it just takes a determination. It takes a determination that I can do this thing, and then just stick to it. Not to tell you that thing with the beard and my daughter running, there was a sort of reason I did that. It was because I was looking kind of raggedy, as some of you know, with that beard. And sometimes we make these determinations, I'm going to quit smoking cigarettes, or I'm going to quit, eating wrong, or I'm going to exercise more, and I'm going to lose weight. We have all these things that we're going to do, and we don't follow through. So I was determined, because it's so important, maybe not for my own sake, but for my little girl, that if I grew this beard, it's easy to say, okay, well, we're not going to run today. We're not going to do it today. Maybe not today. And then eventually stop doing it. This is what we do, right? This is what happens to all of us. But I knew that if I had to look at that face in the morning, and I had to be looking like that, we're going to run tonight. And so that pushed me. And then if I just went ahead and just cut it off and said we're not going to do it, that would have just been admitting defeat. So I was stuck. I said I wasn't going to shave until 1 January. We're going to be in shape. Every time I look at that ratty face, we're running tonight, and I couldn't shave it because I'd be giving up on my little girl. I was stuck. I stuck myself in a corner so that we had to be successful, okay? I'm saying, and we've both found out. I've lost 12 pounds myself. I'm in better shape as well. I walk 13 miles a day, but now I'm running 1 mile in the evening with my daughter. As I can now do something, and my daughter can do something that we didn't think we could do. This is where we're at. We have to do this. We have to get ourselves together. Nobody's going to do it for us. The welfare system isn't helping us. The welfare system is there for the sake of the government. I mean, you got a lot of ignorant folks out there. You got like folks on the right that are ticked off at the welfare system because people are getting money that they don't want to have money. But the reality is, for the economy to function right, the government has to infuse money into the economy. So they're just using the people that are on welfare to infuse this money into the economy. They're going to give you money. You're going to take it. You're going to be consumers and spend it here and spend it there. And that's strengthening the businesses that are getting that money. That's really the government simply giving the businesses money, but just using the welfare people as the middleman. And so it's not really helping the folks on welfare because they're stuck at a particular level of never being prosperous in life, okay? And so a lot of folks get upset, well, there's a lot of drug use people on welfare and blah, blah, blah. The amount of drug use of people on welfare compared to the whole and all the money from food, consumer products, and consumer things that are being bought with welfare money, that's nothing. That's to the side. That's like taking medicine that can harm you, but 98% of the medicine is making you well. So that money, that government money that's being given to welfare folks, is really the government just constantly stimulating the economy by putting more money into the merchant's hands, okay? Keeping that little ball rolling. It's not really helping the people on welfare. You ain't going to get help. You're going to be on that level of never realizing your potential, never realizing you can be greater than that. And your kids are destined to that same negativity, and their kids as well. That's that sociological cycle, that generational curse that our kids keep following after. We need to make a determination that we're not going to live like this anymore. We have to determine that we're better than that, and we want better for our children. They're going to be better as well. But I'll tell you what, nobody else is going to help you. I was at work the other day, there was this white guy in there. I mean, we're on the same income level, middle class and all, but he's mad at Obama. What does Obama think he is? Robin Hood, you know, stealing from the rich, giving to the poor. I got so irritated. It was like this guy, the white guy here, his ancestors were thieves and murderers. When was the last time you seen a Native American? And the African, not to mention all the stuff the Africans went through for how many hundred years. So basically everything that these guys have that are complaining about Obama, taken from here and given to here, first of all, they're not rich. But secondly, everything that they own, everything that they're about, they are descendants of thieves and murderers. So to steal from a thief, is that really stealing? I don't know, maybe it is. But I wanted to go there with this guy, but then it was like I had to just shake my head. And just recognize, I mean, this is maybe just his way of venting or his way of feeling better. But he's not my issue. My issue is my life. My issue is the life of my children. My issue is the life of my community. My issue is the life of anybody that wants to be well and that I can give a hand to. It doesn't matter what your race is or what your religion is or what your gender is or what your sexual preference is. If you want to be well, that's my issue. And for the people out there, the fringe people out there that will never be happy unless it just goes their way, that's their issue, and I can't be bothered by that. And I'm telling you this to let you know that nobody is going to help you. Nobody wants to help you. Nobody wants to help your kids. If you don't do it, it's not going to get done, and that's simply the way that it is. So I'm giving you away. I'm letting you know that you have to come to terms with your issue and figure out a way out of your situation. And the first step is to recognize that you can be better than what you are. And I'm going to give you my little way. And I've given you this in a few programs, and people, I don't know, take it tongue-in-cheek or don't take it at all, but I meditate. And my wife, as a Christian, she gets mad at me because she doesn't quite understand. It's nothing Far Eastern or whatever. Well, Christianity is from a Far Eastern, but the reality is all meditation is just thinking and just being quiet. I believe that every human being, they say that every experience that every human being experiences, sees, hears, smells, touches, whatever, that they never forget it. And even experiences that we don't consciously realize, maybe something in our peripheral vision, something that we may have heard while we were in conversation, but it didn't strike consciously to us, it still gets lodged in our brain. And so imagine all the classes that we sat through and maybe slept through and didn't pass or whatever, but we listened to the lectures, tried to, even slept through, subliminally listened to some of the lectures. We got that. Everything that we experienced. So what I'm suggesting today, and this is what I've lived by, is the importance of meditation. Because meditation to me, for me, it's like 5:15 in the morning by myself in a very quiet, peaceful place, full of plants. Very peaceful for me. And we understand the concept of yoga, which means like union and spiritual and physical and all this stuff. I've sort of made up some of my own moves simply to stretch my body while I'm in certain stages of this meditation. And in that quiet time, I just allow my mind. Some meditate, and I studied meditation as I was considering, taking this on maybe about 10 or so years ago. And some of the meditation techniques had you, making these noises, The other one was like nam, yo, renge, having these little words that you say or whatever. That wasn't doing me. And then I was reading some other articles, about having something to stare at, something like something on the wall, and maybe a flickering candle or something. And I tried that for a minute. That wasn't working for me either. And so then I was just meditating and just quiet time and just trying to clear my mind. And then thoughts would cross my mind, and articles would say, well, you got to block those thoughts out of your mind so you could just clear your mind. And that really wasn't doing me either, because I'm looking at this thing for real. I'm not just trying to be a follower of something that somebody else does. I want to find out some reality, some truths for myself. So as I'm studying all this, it's not making sense to me. Because if I'm sitting there trying to think and focus, I don't want to try to think and focus on something. What I'm suggesting today, and what I'm sharing with you today, just something to consider, is that you have all the answers. You have everything that you need within you. You've experienced and heard so many things consciously and subconsciously. Then all the answers, at the risk of sounding corny, all the answers of the universe are within you. And so to me, then, in my quiet time, and in your quiet time, you just allow to happen whatever will happen. And so if a thought comes into my mind, I don't try to block the thought out and not think about anything. Because there are times I'm sitting here, I let whatever happen, and thoughts cross my mind and I let them come. It's almost like clearing out a drain or something. If something needs to be cleared out, just let what happens happen naturally in my mind. And I sort of was considering like with the body, we've been given bodies and minds that are very powerful, that we really don't truly grasp the powerful nature of that which we are. And so if I cut my hand or something, it heals itself. A scab comes and it heals. It does what it needs to do, and whatever is happening under that scab, I'm not aware of, but it's doing what it needs to do. And lo and behold, when that scab one day peels off, the hand is healed underneath. What I'm suggesting, our minds are the same way. There are things, there are experiences, there are things that have caused us to be and to think the way that we are. There are issues that we have and thoughts that we might suppress and not want to think about, maybe have been suppressed for years. What I'm suggesting is you remove yourself from the distractions or the things that dull our senses, or like the music and the TV and the conversations and the sound and the noise. All these things, they really don't allow that which is in us to begin to come out. Quiet time does that for me. And so I'm just suggesting today that you just take time, take quiet time, and just close your eyes and breathe. For me, what I focus on is like a breathing thing. I breathe in my nose as far as I can take it. And then I breathe out my mouth as far out as I can. And I just focus on my breathing. In and out as far as I can. And I just do that for a while. Maybe 10, 15 minutes, calmly. And it's like as I'm focusing on that, on the breathing, thoughts begin to pop into my mind. Maybe thoughts that I hadn't considered, or ideas, or things I might need to take care of, or just any kind of thing. I just let whatever come. And it just works out that way. And sometimes when I'm in those positions, I have little moves that I make that just sort of stretch my body, just ways to stretch. After 10 minutes, do this, or after 15 minutes, do that. And I find myself after maybe 30 minutes, 45 minutes, or even an hour at the most sometimes, I'm done. And I just feel good. A lot of times, soreness that I might have gotten up with that morning has gone away. There's a peaceful calm about me that goes with me through the rest of the day. And then once again the next morning. And there are sometimes I'll find that I'll be really diligent about this, and I'll do this for like maybe a month or two, and then something will come up, and maybe I'll stay up late and I can't get up early, and then I might find myself for a month of not meditating, and I feel terrible and confused and tired all the time and just not good. Then I make myself get up that next morning and meditate, and it feels wonderful, fresh, like fresh water. And then I do it again. I might put out a video eventually on the moves that I make. It's like a yoga thing, but I created them myself. And I wouldn't try to suggest that someone just do what I do just to be doing what I'm doing, but to see what I do or try what I do. And then from that, realize that you can make up what you need to make up. Because the whole yoga thing, when you begin to, well, no, that's not the right move is this, and the right move is that, and all, then it gets almost like a religion thing, and it loses the whole reality of you in this. It's about you and your body and your mind and being well and clearing yourself to hear the insides of you. I'm telling you, that's for ideas. All the ideas that you need, the answers that you need to the situations and problems of your life, or even the how-tos to accomplish certain things, they're there, they're in you. In your quiet time, in your meditation time, you'll see. For real. This was kind of different today, but this is real. We're coming into a new year now, and we do a lot of talking. Everybody on these programs, we do a lot of talking. And we like what we hear sometimes. Sometimes they're harsh, sometimes they're negative, sometimes they're good, sometimes they're love, sometimes they're peaceful, but whatever. But how often are they actual working in our lives, changing our lives to be better than we are? And what I'm suggesting to you, it's in you. It's the wellness is in you. Sort of when I was taking my daughter for those runs, the wellness was there. I mean, we didn't have to buy anything. It was like, oh, you got legs, you got a body, adjust what you're eating and exercise. And so we do go through things, and it does get sort of disheartening sometimes, but I'm telling you that there is a way. There are things that you can do. Now, there are things that you don't have any control over. Don't concern yourself with the things that you don't have any control over, but be about the things that you do have control over. Those things that you can. It doesn't matter what happens. It doesn't matter if you go bankrupt. I mean, it matters. But say you go bankrupt, or you lose your home, you lose your... Not to say I've been there, done that. Some of you all know my story. And sometimes it takes years to recover from those type things. But in the meantime, my wife and I went through a situation years ago where we did lose everything. Everything. Okay? We had a business, didn't pan out, she got burnt, she wanted to have a baby, so we stopped the business, everything went. You know those type things, those things that we're ashamed of. But guess what? When we moved to the hood, and we lived there for like 4 years, rented in the hood. I mean, you talk about pit bulls and, stuff running around. I mean, the hood, okay? But it was in that time I came up with this meditation technique. It was that time I came up with the moves for my body to be well in the meditation. What I'm suggesting today is there are things that you can't control. There are things that you don't have any control over. But even in the midst of that, at least you have your body. If you can't be financially well, if you can't live at the moment where you want to live or how you want to live, at least eat right. At least get yourself in shape. Sort of with the idea of those men that are in prison. Men, they say they go to prison sometimes and start pumping iron, getting strong and everything, then they get out of prison and they're ripped or whatever. Be that way in life. If whatever situation you have in your life that's jacked up, find the things that you are in control of and perfect those things. So when this situation finally resolves itself, you walk into that new life, new and improved, with a new body, new health. You've lost 100 pounds, no diabetes, blood pressure's where it's supposed to be, everything's going on. And your kids now, you're dragging with you now into that nice neighborhood, into that nice situation, now have an example of what I do when life falls apart. Do I freak out? Do I lose my mind? No. My mom and daddy got themselves in shape, kept themselves together, kept a superior mindset, a superior attitude, and now I'm going to be that way. That's the message we give our kids. We have to show our kids that they are more than they think they are. We have to begin to demonstrate to our kids that we can be more than we think we are. My daughter saw me get that associate degree. She saw me for a year taking those mathematics courses leading up to algebra, the frustration, but the determination, and finally the victory in doing something that was seemingly impossible. Her 54-year-old father got a degree, went to school right in front of her. I'm telling you, she's seen herself run a mile now as a 7-year-old when she couldn't even hardly walk half a mile when we started. We have to teach our kids, show ourselves first, and show our kids in the process that they can be more than they ever dreamed they can be. Nobody's going to help you but you. You can do it. You can, for real. Well, I guess I've been to your ear long enough. Without further ado, I want to thank you for joining me and listening. And I want to invite you to listen again.